There are some brands that just feel different. They're more than just a logo. They represent a feeling, an ideal. For decades, Hawaiian Airlines has been exactly that. It wasn't just a way to get to paradise, it was the beginning of paradise. The moment you stepped on board, you were greeted with the Aloha Spirit, a promise of warmth, care, and a perfect safety record unmatched in American aviation history. For 95 years, it was the airline that couldn't fail. Today, that airline is in a nosedive. It's losing over $1 million a day. Its pilots have just voted to authorize a strike that could ground the entire fleet indefinitely. And to save itself from what could be its third bankruptcy, it has been forced into a takeover by a rival. How did this happen? How did America's most beloved and trusted airline, the symbol of paradise, find itself on the brink of collapse? The answer is a perfect storm of corporate warfare, global crisis, and a battle for the very soul of the company. This is the rise and fall of Hawaiian Airlines. To understand the fall, we must first understand the glory. The story begins in 1929, not with a scrappy startup, but with an established transportation giant, the Inter-Island Steam Navigation Company. A decorated World War I naval pilot named Stanley Kennedy convinced them the future wasn't on the sea, but in the sky. But Kennedy knew his biggest obstacle wasn't technology, it was fear. So, his first move was marketing genius. Before starting scheduled service, he offered $5 scenic flights over Oahu in a single Belunca aeroplane. He didn't sell speed, he sold safety. By the time the first real passenger flights began with their iconic 8-seater Sikorsky S-38 amphibian planes, thousands of locals had already had a positive experience in the air. This ethos, safety and trust first, became the airline's DNA. In 1941, as it became a vital link in America's war effort, it officially rebranded from Inter-Island Airways to the aspirational Hawaiian Airlines. It introduced the workhorse DC-3s, planes so reliable they created the foundation for the coming tourism boom. For the next several decades, Hawaiian built its legend on two pillars. An unmatched operational record, it is the oldest US airline to have never had a fatal accident, and a brand built around the Aloha Spirit. They didn't just fly you to Hawaii, they brought Hawaii to you. The iconic Pualani, Flower of the Sky logo, the culturally significant names for their aircraft, the genuine warmth of the service, it was an authentic brand identity that other airlines couldn't hope to copy. This was their fortress. But even the strongest fortresses have their weaknesses. In 2019, a challenger arrived with a strategy of asymmetric warfare. Southwest Airlines, a national giant, entered the Hawaiian market. To understand why Southwest's arrival was so devastating, you have to understand their business model. For decades, Southwest has perfected a low-cost strategy built on ruthless efficiency. They fly only one type of aircraft, the Boeing 737, to keep maintenance and training costs minimal. They fly point-to-point routes, turning planes around at the gate in record time. Hawaiian, by contrast, operated a complex fleet of different aircraft for different needs, small Boeing 717s for inter-island hops, and massive Airbus A330s for long-haul international flights. Their model was built on service, not just price. This meant Southwest could enter the market with an operational cost advantage that Hawaiian simply couldn't match. It wasn't a fair fight. It was a heavyweight boxer challenging a skilled martial artist in a boxing ring. The rules favored the bigger opponent. For Hawaiian, Hawaii is everything. For Southwest, it was just another front. Southwest launched an aggressive price war. offering tickets at rates considered by many analysts to be predatory, selling below cost to drive a smaller competitor out of business. Hawaiian was caught in an impossible trap. Lose money matching prices, or lose the market by not matching. They chose to fight, and the financial bleeding began immediately. Just as this corporate war was draining their resources, the world changed forever. The COVID-19 pandemic hit. Travel stopped. Hawaiian's fortress, its reliance on tourism, became its prison. As they slowly recovered, a new crisis emerged. Costly, systemic engine issues, with their modern Airbus A321neo fleet, forcing planes to be grounded. It felt like the airline was being attacked from all sides. A corporate rival, a global pandemic, and its own technology failing from within. But the final blow came from inside the cockpit. For years, Hawaiian's pilots had been working under contracts that left them paid significantly less than their counterparts at other major airlines. As post-pandemic travel boomed, the disparity became unbearable. After long, fruitless negotiations, in June 2025, the pilots voted by a staggering 99% margin to authorize a strike. The threat was existential. A strike would likely push the financially crippled airline into its third bankruptcy. And this wasn't some new, unforeseen crisis. Hawaiian had a history of flying dangerously close to the sun. The company had already filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy twice before. The first time was in 1993, a result of fierce inter-island price wars after airline deregulation. They survived. The second time was in 2003 in the brutal aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, which decimated the travel industry. They survived that, too. This history of resilience was part of their legend, but it also painted a picture of a company with deep-seated vulnerabilities. Each crisis had left scars, and now, facing a perfect storm of competition, a pandemic, and internal strife, the question was, could they possibly cheat death a third time? Following filings in 1993 and 2003. Trapped and out of options, the company was forced to accept a lifeline from an old rival, a $1.9 billion buyout from Alaska Airlines. The deal saved the company from financial collapse, but it may have cost them their soul. And this is where the story ends, not with a bang, but with a quiet, strategic dismantling. The clearest symbol of this is the fate of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. This was meant to be Hawaiian's future, its flagship for expanding its own routes from Honolulu. But now, under new ownership, these prized assets are being retasked. Alaska Airlines is basing them in Seattle, using them to open new routes for their network, not Honolulu's. The very tool meant to secure Hawaiian's independent future is now being used to fuel its new owner's ambitions. The Aloha standard was built on 95 years of independence. That autonomy is now gone. The company was saved, but its identity, its pualani, is now a division within a larger corporation headquartered in Seattle. It is a story we've seen before. The rise was the story of building an unshakable identity. The fall, ironically, is the story of losing it in the very deal that was meant to ensure its survival. So what do you think? Is a brand's survival worth losing its identity? And if you've ever flown Hawaiian, what does that Aloha Spirit really mean to you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching.